jurisdiction. Mother Hughey.
Thank you, Mother Lewis, to Mother Rivers and Mother Blake, and to all of the executive women. The structure of the Department of Women is hierarchical, and the hierarchy is supported by 4 definitive levels: the local, the district, the jurisdictional, and the national. At each level, the jurisdictional Department of Women is a system of support. It is a system of relationships, and it is a system of connectedness. For the next few minutes, we will look at the template that is provided on page 6, and we will proceed to page 7 and give the narratives that is supportive of the flow chart. As we look at page 6, keep in mind that this is a visual template, and this template identifies the key performers in the jurisdiction. It could serve as a primary resource for even starting the jurisdictional work. As Mother Lewis has forestated, at the top is the jurisdictional supervisor. Now, this is not a flow chart. This is a visual template to identify the key performers, okay? Because the flow chart would perhaps look a little differently because the line responsibilities that are assigned to the assistant jurisdictional supervisors would actually serve as line responsibilities to the supervisors. And to the assistant to the jurisdictional supervisor, it would be a dotted line. But let me see if I can walk us through this. The assistant to the jurisdictional supervisor is a person or a lady that she selects to assist her, to be of assistance to her. This person will differ greatly from the assistant jurisdictional supervisor, for who we will define later on page 7. It is important for the jurisdiction to have at least some primary roles laid out for the jurisdictional work to be successful. There should be the administrative staff, and there should be effective, passionate district missionaries, and certainly a strong Mother's Board. And the Mother's Board is comprised of mothers from the individual churches who come together under the leadership of a jurisdictional or president or director of the Mother's Board at the jurisdictional level. We will proceed to page 7. I will state the overall purpose of the jurisdictional offices. The overall purpose is to maintain a progressive support system to implement the ministry of the national church, and that encompasses all aspects of the jurisdictional work. The district missionaries, recommended by the district superintendent, appointed by the jurisdictional supervisor, she serves as an extension of the jurisdictional supervisor, and indeed, she is the first person in the supervisor's cabinet. Let me start at the top of this flow chart. The supervisor is appointed by the general supervisor, but she is selected by her bishop, and Mother Eads so eloquently described that. Romans 1:7 said, we are called to be saints. So foremost, if we are not selected to be the supervisor, we're all called to be saints. And if that position no longer exists, we're still called to be saints. Amen? But we are selected by the bishop to be the supervisor, and we're appointed by the general supervisor. All right? Now, from page 7, you see the direct lines that goes to the responsibility that the jurisdictional supervisor is expected to oversee, to carry out, to lead, and to give insight and training to. The Department of Women is one of those key areas. And despite what we've learned, have heard in the past, that the supervisor is only responsible for credential holders, she is the leader, according to our department handbook, of the women in her jurisdiction. And it's important for us to embrace that. And the women consist of all of the women in the jurisdiction, including those who are credential holders. Now, the distinction, and this is my last point, the assistant supervisor from this flow chart is also selected by the bishop and the supervisor, and appointed by the general supervisor. So she receives her appointment at the national level, and that is a distinction between the assistant to the supervisor, who might be a person that the supervisor selects to assist her. This is perhaps a broad view, but I recommend that we take this particular information and keep it with your Department of Women handbook, because it can certainly be a great resource and talking points for you as you build and extend and even initiate a jurisdictional work. And lastly, I'd like to recommend another resource, and you can just write this in your notes. It's a wonderful, wonderful team building resource, and the title is Who's Got Your Back? The focus of this is to build not only relationships, but lifelong relationships. So I recommend this. It helps you in building the jurisdictional work. Certainly can be a resource at all levels of ministry. Thank you.